Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the ESC Scot YouTube channel. Can you believe that it's already been a month since Loreen took home the trophy for Sweden in Liverpool? I seriously can't. It's already been a month. Now obviously every year we have the same discussion about which city will host next year's Eurovision, and that's what this video is all about. Now SVT, the Swedish broadcaster, confirmed only a few hours after the Eurovision 2023 final, after they won, that they have took the challenge of hosting Eurovision 2024 in Sweden. This will be the 7th time that Eurovision is held in Sweden, with the first being in 1975, 1985, 1992, 2000, 2013 and 2016. Now we definitely know now that Sweden is hosting Eurovision next year, but what we don't know is what city will be hosting Eurovision next year. Now on June 12th was the last date that Swedish cities could place a bid to host next year's Eurovision. Now if you don't know how the Eurovision city bids work, basically the cities that want to try and host it have to prove to SVT, the Swedish broadcaster, that they actually can and have the capabilities to do so. So the bid will include a lot of paperwork and possibly like a video showing off the city in the best possible way. Basically the bids are just to prove to SVT that these cities have the requirements to host Eurovision, because I can tell you some that bid definitely don't. SVT's requirement list this year included that they would have to have at least 3,500 hotel rooms, a press centre with space for 1,200 people, that's 700 up from 2021, so that means there's going to be a hell of a lot of journalists. They need a place that can host the turquoise carpet event, and of course a Euro club. Obviously they need an arena that can hold at least 10,000 people. Now I think it's quite obvious by looking at the information that we already have that only 4 cities in Sweden actually bid to host Eurovision next year. So let's go through each city that I think could host Eurovision 2024. The first city is the one that I find really hard to pronounce. It's Örnsköldsvik, the northern Swedish city that is home to just 30,000 people. Now personally I think Örnsköldsvik is the least likely to be chosen, but we'll give it a chance. Örnsköldsvik has the Hägglunds Arena, I think that's how you pronounce it, which has the capacity for up to 9,800 people. It's previously hosted heats for the Melodifestivalen, which is the Swedish national final, in 2007, 2010, 2014 and 2018. Now the reason I don't think Örnsköldsvik will be chosen is simply because it's really small, like really small. Örnsköldsvik also bid to host in 2016 but obviously didn't get it, and they didn't get it because the city was so small and they just didn't have the capacity to host, and I still think they'll have that problem today. Örnsköldsvik does seem to have a lot of links to the Swedish music industry, but I don't think that'll be enough. The one thing I did love about Örnsköldsvik's bid was the video that they included in their bid. It got released on YouTube a few days ago. This bid video was perfect in every which way possible. It just showed off the city in a really good light. They highlighted the different resources that you need to host Eurovision. So they highlighted the press centre that they would use, the Euro club, and it looked like they are going to have like cruise ships on their dock, so that they have more accommodation available for the incoming hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be travelling to the city. It does seem like they are trying to do everything they possibly can to get Eurovision to their city. I don't think it's likely that we'll be going to Örnsköldsvik, but it isn't impossible. It's definitely not impossible. The next city is Gothenburg. The second largest city in Sweden has officially placed a bid to host next year's contest. Gothenburg has hosted Eurovision before, back in 1985, quite a long time ago. As Sweden's second biggest city, Gothenburg has the infrastructure to host it. It has everything they need to host, except there's one big problem, and it's the arena. The Scandinavium. It is a beautiful and quite impressive arena, but there's one problem on the technical side. The roof of the Scandinavium is really low, and it won't be able to hold the modern light rigging that Eurovision obviously needs nowadays. Now this has made a lot of people completely rule out Gothenburg as next year's hosts, but a representative from Gothenburg's bid did say that they have found a solution to the problem. So if they have genuinely found a solution to the Scandinavium's roof, then I don't see why SVT wouldn't choose Gothenburg as the host city next year. But how do you fix a roof that's like that? I mean, Gothenburg has only hosted once in the 6 times Sweden has hosted Eurovision, and it was in the 80s. I think it's about time we let Gothenburg have a moment in the limelight for once. The next possible host city is Malmö. Malmö has previously hosted Eurovision in 1992 and most recently in 2013. The Malmö Arena, the arena that hosted it in 2013, would take up the job of hosting if Malmö got chosen again. Now, I did read this somewhere, don't take my word for it, I haven't checked, but I did read that the Malmö Arena has a lot of shows booked out for next May. But obviously if Malmö has placed a bid already, then that means that the arena is willing to either reschedule these shows or cancel these shows, because obviously they'll need to do that if Malmö gets chosen. The other thing we need to remember is that hosting Eurovision costs a lot of money. Obviously it gives your city so much exposure and you'll make a lot of money back. Anyway, it's still a strain on the finances for these cities, and Malmö's representatives have been the most vocal about this issue. But I think if we forget the financial aspect, I think Malmö stands quite a good chance. Personally, I would rather see a city like Gothenburg or Örnsköldsvik host instead of Malmö. I would just love to see a city that doesn't get much attention get all the attention for just 1 week. Now I kind of feel stupid for saying that, because the next city I'm going to talk about is the most likely city that Eurovision is going to be hosted in next year, and it's Stockholm, the capital. Stockholm is obviously Sweden's largest city, and currently 980,000 people, nearly a million, live in Stockholm. Stockholm has hosted Eurovision 3 times, once in 1975, 2000 and most recently in 2016. Stockholm has already proven that they are an amazing host city, and they're really eager to host it again in 2024. Stockholm has a whopping 3 arenas. Yeah, 3 arenas that they can choose from. First arena being the Tele2 Arena, which has the capacity for 45,000 people. Now there is a problem with the Tele2 Arena. It's Stockholm's football teams. They have been very adamant that they do not want to move out of their venues for the Eurovision month, which is understandable. So we've got another 2 arenas to choose from. Or do we? The next arena is the Globen, or the Avicii Arena. The Globen has hosted Eurovision 2 out of the 3 times it's been held in Stockholm. The first in 2000 and the most recent in 2016. The Globen is a fantastic arena, and I would love to see Eurovision go back in there. Yet again, there is a problem. In the months Eurovision is due to take place, the Globen is undergoing renovations. Now this doesn't mean the Globen is completely ruled out. It may just mean that these renovations are going to be pushed back or pulled forward. But it still might not be a viable option. Okay, so I'm just going to interrupt myself right here before I say the next possible host venue, the most likely host venue. It's probably not the most likely anymore. When I filmed this video it was about 3 weeks ago, so now 3 weeks later there's been a lot of information that's came out, including Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift announced her Eras tour dates, and they are going to be in this arena for 3 days in the middle of May. That's a piece of information that's made this next host venue very unlikely to host Eurovision. It's now kind of looking like it's not going to be Stockholm. It actually might be Malmö. That's my opinion. No, it's not an opinion. It kind of looks like that's going to be the outcome. But we'll continue on with the video. Anytime I say that the Friends Arena is the most likely venue, it's not. Now that leads me to the most likely Eurovision venue for 2024, and it is the Friends Arena. The Friends Arena has a capacity of a whopping 65,000 people, which would be lowered for Eurovision, by the way. The Friends Arena has hosted many of the Melodifestivalen finals, including 2022 and 2023. Now this arena is the one that Stockholm is pushing for the most, and I think that's why it's the heavy favourite to host it. Now I've also got a few personal reasons why I'd like the Friends Arena to host as well. 1, the place is huge. It's ginormous. 2, the Friends Arena's never hosted Eurovision before, something new. 3, this is the big one, you're more likely to get tickets for the show. Fact. And I mean, if you've ever watched a Melodifestivalen final, then you'll know how amazing Eurovision would be in this arena. And the stage would be awesome. The stage would be amazing. There isn't really any reason why the EBU or SVT would not choose the Friends Arena to host next year. The only thing I could possibly think of is that the EBU doesn't like hosting Eurovision in a huge environment. They don't like huge arenas, just because there's been problems when they've hosted Eurovision in a big venue before. But I seriously don't think that's going to stop them from choosing the Friends Arena. Now I put a poll out on my community tab on my YouTube channel saying which city in Sweden do you think will host Eurovision 2024? And I put the 4 options that we've talked about today: Malmö, Stockholm, Örnsköldsvik and Gothenburg. As you can see, Stockholm is the heavy favourite. 68% of people think that Eurovision is going to be held in Stockholm next year. Gothenburg and Malmö are equal, 14%, and poor Örnsköldsvik only got 5%, but that's to be expected. So to me, personally, I think it looks like we're going to be heading to Stockholm. I mean, I would love it to be held in Örnsköldsvik, seriously, I just don't know if they could. I'd love it to be held in Gothenburg as well, but the arena is just, it's a huge problem. And Malmö's a great city and it has a really good arena. Seriously, it could be anyone's game, but it does seem like Stockholm is the massive favourite to host. But remember to comment down below, tell me who do you think will be hosting Eurovision 2024? Where do you think we'll be flying to next May? Remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Remember to follow me on all my socials, they'll be down in the description below. And I will see you in the next Eurovision video. See you then.